Good afternoon. Hope you're all doing well. Awkward moments before the meeting actually starts, just staring at a blank screen, so always fun. We'll get stuck into it. Thanks a lot for joining me this afternoon. So heaps has happened. The 2 weeks has just flown by. I can't believe how quickly it's actually gone. I hope you utilise this time to the best of your ability and maximised the phone not ringing and the distractions, and actually worked on your business or caught up on some R&R, time with the family, whatever it was. Hopefully it was beneficial, it was effective, it was good for your soul and your body and everything. So I actually worked every single day. I think I took half a day off actually, just to head down to the beach with the family. But pretty much every day I didn't break my routine. I was here in the morning at the office around 6 o'clock, 6:30, and got stuck into it straight away. So it was really good, and I was able to catch up on a ton of paperwork and work on some other little bits and pieces as well for my business and the other businesses as well. So really good to utilise that. So I'll get stuck into it. COVID-19 and everything that we have to do in construction. Now this will be specific to construction. So sorry any other business owners that are tuning in, but welcome nonetheless. So there's a whole range of shit now that the government's brought in that we have to abide by. Now the first one is obviously we cannot, no worker can come on site without having at least one vaccination. Now I want to confirm, because I've had this question quite a few times, it is one, you have to have had at least one vaccination by the 2nd of October, which was Saturday that just passed. Otherwise you cannot work on a construction site. So it's not booked in on Thursday for your first one. You have to have had your very first shot on the 2nd of October or before, and then booked in, or fully vaccinated. So there's three stages or three levels that they'll accept for someone to work on site. So had their first dose and their second one is booked in, they're fully vaccinated, so had 2 jabs altogether, and then the other one is an exemption. So you need a certificate from a medical practitioner to say that you were exempt from getting a COVID vaccine. If you don't have any of those, so if you're not vaccinated, if you can't provide evidence as well, then you cannot work. So this is another thing that people are saying. So as a builder, I'm jumping around a little bit, but as a builder, we need to have a register and cite everyone's vaccinations. Okay, we don't need a record of it, we don't need anything like that, but we do need to cite it. So if someone comes on site, I grab their name, it was their white card number, so we do need that as well. So please have your white cards with you as well. I need to know whether you have your first dose or your second dose, or you're exempt. Now, if you, again, it isn't the law, as in you don't have to get vaccinated, and I'm not an advocate, so please now don't think that I'm out here advocating for people to get vaccinated, because I honestly don't care what you do, and I'm not here to push an agenda on anyone or anything, or of anything, but I do need to follow the rules that are in place for the industry in order to ensure that we're still in operation. So if you don't provide evidence to your builder or to the operator of the site that you have been vaccinated, then it'll be assumed that you're not vaccinated and you won't be allowed on site. Now, if I've got one here, I don't, but you can go on the website, on the government website, and you need to download a register, which is effectively saying exactly that. So it's got all the details of every single person. It's got a table, and you need to populate it with everyone's details, and it is an absolute pain in the ass. The fact now that we have to literally stand there at the front of a gate as everyone walks in and says, right, show me your vaccination, give me your details. It is a pain in the ass, but it's something that every construction site needs to abide by. So as a whole, we really need the cooperation. As a builder, we need the cooperation of every trade to facilitate this control on site now. So now the other thing as a builder is you need to go on the Service Victoria website and do a declaration for every construction site. So this involves literally a list of questions that you'll need to go through. It'll take you about 5 minutes per construction site. You put the details of the site, building permit numbers, all that sort of stuff. And then from there, you answer the question, you acknowledge the questions and the controls, and you declare that the site is going to be run in a COVID safe way. So you need to do that for every single construction site. It's on the Service Vic website. I'll just double check the exact website and I'll let you know what it is. So it's service.vic.gov.au. So you click on that and then you scroll in the middle. It literally says up the top, COVID safe construction declaration. Click on that and then you get started from there. So you click on it and gives you, it needs your name, email, your business name, head office address, site address, your building practitioner's number, the building permit number, your ABN, and then the QR code, the government QR code to log onto the site. So, and then after that, it has a whole list of questions or a list of statements that you're declaring will be monitored and maintained on the construction site. And then you actually have to implement those controls on site. So speaking of controls on site, what you're going to need is a government QR code login. So you should have already had this in place for some time now. It has been a mandatory thing for a little while. So you're going to need that. You're going to need to maintain COVID safe practices, which means everyone on site does need to wear a mask, need to maintain social distancing, have cleaning facilities as far as, hand sanitizer and keeping areas clean. As far as lunch is concerned, I wouldn't be having 5 blokes on site. So again, we're restricted to 5 guys on site, plus a supervisor. This is for small scale construction. But I wouldn't have all 5 guys in a little room having lunch. Best case scenario would be sit outside if you can, or in a big open area as best as you can to keep away from there. So they're pretty much the controls that you need to have. There's also you also need to have a COVID safe plan in place, because it is another requirement of construction and businesses in Victoria having a COVID safe plan. Now, you can download that. I think Master Builders has a platform where you can actually download that from as well, and it is quite good, but you obviously need to put in your specific controls for your site. So make sure that you do have that in place. I'm just trying to bring up mine at the moment. Give me a sec. Should have probably had all this stuff open before going live. That's all good. The other thing, you need to have a COVID marshal. Okay, so that's another pain in the ass. So look, the good thing is you don't need a dedicated COVID marshal on every construction site. You can have just one person that is a COVID marshal for, say, 5 construction sites. Now, this is again specific to small scale construction. So your construction manager, your supervisor, whoever it might be, can be a COVID marshal for your company, and that the role of the COVID marshal is to ensure compliance to all those things. So ensuring that we get that you guys are detailed on the register every morning, or new people. Now that register, you only have to do it once, yeah? So you only have to get their details once, and that's it. Then they can come to site 100 times. You don't need to check them in every day, but they do need to sign into the QR code every single day that they are there. So make sure that they're doing that. Now, this is the other thing, this is the other role of the COVID marshal. They need to ensure compliance, that they're signing in, that they're registered, that they're practicing safe COVID procedures, they're wearing masks, they're keeping distance, they're keeping clean, all that sort of stuff. So that is the role of the COVID marshal. There is also a training to complete to get your certificate to be a COVID marshal, which is also on the health website, one of the websites. You can, all this stuff, just Google it, okay? If you really need assistance and you're desperate, shoot me a DM and I'll help you and guide you in the right direction. But there is a training course. It's literally a slideshow, and then it asks you a dozen questions, and then you get a certificate at the end of it to say you're a COVID safe person. Congratulations. But anyone that's in that supervision type role in your organisation, I would encourage them to be a COVID marshal and to have that in place. Now, where was I? Now, as a construction owner, like a builder now, more so than a subcontractor, actually even a subcontractor too, any organisation, if we got bosses in here, then you really should have a policy for managing COVID-19 in your organisation. So this is the same as like an OH&S policy, a working in the sun policy, harassment and bullying policy, all those sorts of things. Having a policy in place for your employees is effectively saying, hey guys, this is the company policy on how we manage this item. So in this case, COVID. Now, I put together a policy on Saturday morning, which is probably a little bit late in all honesty. I probably should have done it a few weeks ago, or actually long ago, months ago. But I put a policy together last on the weekend because of obviously everything that's happening and coming back into the starting on site. Now, this policy was shared across all my employees, and then I got them to sign it and acknowledge that they would comply with that. Now, you might think this is a waste of time and a bullshit piece of paper, but it's actually really important because again, you're always, all these things you're doing, it's to control the associated risk to you and your organization and your company to make sure that you're doing the right thing, but also ensuring the health and safety of your workers. And in the event that something does go wrong, you also have track record to show, say, WorkSafe, if you're being investigated, saying, well, look, this is the policy and procedure we had in place and it wasn't followed for X, Y, Z. Now, that can really save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, because if you get fined as a result of breach of anything COVID, they will come down on you. Now, you can fight it, you can go through all that bullshit, but it's really worth having this stuff in place now to avoid having that issue down the track. So I just can't remember where I've bloody filed this thing. Here we go. No, sorry guys, I'll get there. Look, in the meantime, I'll answer a couple of questions. So how many people on occupied sites? Occupied sites, I'm just going to double check. I think you mean a construction site where the owner is still living in the property. You can't actually operate on any of those sites yet, which is a pain in the ass. So unfortunately, occupied sites, there is still no work on those projects. So we do have a couple of other questions. Where is the vaccine register template? I can tell you that shortly. Shoot me a DM. Who's that? Grant Construction. Shoot me a DM and I will send you the link as to where that is. Just double check if there's any more questions. Nope. Sorry guys, again, just finding this shit when I should have probably had it all up. Awesome, here we go. So our policy with dealing with COVID. So pretty much what it's got in here is effectively an introduction to what it is, the infection control measures. So what we're doing on our construction sites to control the spread of COVID-19 and to minimize the risk. In the event that there is a diagnosis or an exposure on one of your construction sites, what is the process? What do you need to do? So you can quickly see why this document is actually quite important, because you are highlighting and you have a procedure in place for your employees. This is what needs to happen in the event this happens. The self-isolation, if people are traveling internationally, what they need to do when things eventually do open up. So there's a bit of foresight here in this policy, in this section of the policy. Your business operations, so what happens in the event of a shutdown like we've just had. It goes through stuff like, well, is it paid leave, is it unpaid leave? Are you going to be working from home, all that sort of stuff, working from another location, what your policy is on harassment and bullying in this regard, because again, you might have 20 employees or 5 employees, whatever it is. If there's an anti-vaxxer in that group, they shouldn't be bullied or harassed because they feel a certain way. And you need to make sure, as silly as and obvious as it might sound, you really should have something in place to say, hey guys, this isn't tolerated at the company, you can't do this. Then also about the mandatory vaccination requirement. So I'm fortunate as far as all my employees at Pascon, they all got their vaccination really without me even putting it forward and saying anything. But ultimately, regardless if they had or they hadn't, I would have put this as a policy that everyone working at the company has that mandatory vaccination, because otherwise I can't have them operate on my construction site. So the way I see it again is, I'm not willing to risk a $100,000 fine for the company or for myself just so you can make your wages for the day, right? And that's effectively what it's coming down to. And as shit as that sounds and as bad as it sounds, we need to control this process that has been put upon us as business owners. So there's a process. I'll put the details of that. So they need to show evidence of your vaccination. So this is all your employees as well need to show the evidence. That's either having the first and a booking, having 2 vaccinations, having a medical exemption. And if they don't provide that, then look, that's another bridge you're going to have to cross when it comes that time. Who is classed as a construction worker? So this is a good one too, because I've had this question a couple of times. So anyone doing any type of construction work, subcontractors, a WorkSafe VBA inspector coming on site, building owners, so your clients are effectively in this bubble too. If they come on site, you need to put them on the register, you need to cite their vaccination. Employees of the organisation, as we've just said. Now this is a zinger, is delivery drivers. So if they leave their vehicle and step on site, technically you need to get them registered as well. Any visitors to site, including volunteers as well. What else have I got on this policy? So stuff about again, just about the actual process of working on a construction site as well, and what we require in that capacity, COVID marshals and their role, and then also a little bit on privacy and what we would do to not share information, which is another thing. So whether or not you're vaccinated or you are or you're not, it's no one else's business, and this stuff is confidential. Now, another thing to make clear is we don't need to physically keep a copy of your vaccination records. We only need to cite it. So again, when you're on site, as say a subcontractor and a builder is asking you this information, like, don't get shitty, okay? Because it's not our fault. We're not doing this because we want to. All right, this is stuff that's being forced upon us in order to keep everyone working, and the cooperation of everyone involved is going to make a big difference in this instance. So it's really important that everyone helps us get along at the end of the day. And just keep in mind, if you're an anti-vaxxer or if you're someone that doesn't have that, maybe you forgot it at home. You forgot your certificate at home that says you've had your first jab or your second jab. Technically, the builder can't let you on site. They need to be able to cite your vaccination record before you can step foot on site. Otherwise, it is assumed that you haven't been vaccinated. Okay, so really important that little section there, because it is going to be a zinger. So look, I've been getting a lot of questions coming through my DMs and also some phone calls and whatnot. So all of my Builder Elite clients, we pretty much give them copies of all the COVID safe plan, this particular policy I've just discussed, the memorandum that we would send to our direct employees, and all the other stuff related to managing COVID on your construction sites. So if it is something that you are interested in looking at and incorporating into your business, shoot me a DM. And what I can do is, normally I give this free to all of our Builder Elite clients, but I'm happy to sell these to you for $97, this whole policy and all these lists. So just tee me up and I can send that through to you. Now, again, for $97, what you're getting, this has taken me hours upon hours to put together, probably days really. If I actually add up all my COVID safe plans and everything, it's taken days to put this system into operation and to actually get it running within the business. So I'm happy to share that with a lot of people if they see that that's something of value and that they need. And we can sell that for $97 through Builder Elite. So just shoot me a DM and more than happy to send that through to you. Now, I'll open it up to some questions if anyone has anything. I have seen a couple come through. Can you still walk outdoors on occupied premises? No, you can't. People are still living there. So the definition that I've seen through Master Builders is that you cannot work on an occupied premise at all. Zero tolerance for it. Which is shit. Like, as you said, if you're painting the outside of a house, you would think that should be okay, right? And there's so much that contradicts itself in this whole last 18 months of COVID. It's ridiculous, because you can't paint outside the house, but you can go to Coles with 53,000 people and touch the same piece of fruit or box or this checkout chicks, like, all that sort of stuff. It's silly. All right, this is full on. Yes, it is, which is partly why I've put all this stuff together, and why I'm sharing it with the community and coming out on here now to provide a bit of value to you guys, because the whole reason for Builder Elite to actually be in existence is to help lift industry standards and create like a best practice, and to give this stuff away at $97, it's a steal. Trust me when I say I spent all Saturday night and some of Saturday morning putting this policy together, and I reckon overall it probably took me I reckon it took me probably 4 hours at least just to put the policy together. And then on top of that, I've had to send it out to everyone. So I'm telling you, it's days worth of work with all the policy, with all the COVID shit that I've incorporated in my business. And to give it to you for $97 is a steal. So again, shoot me a DM if you are interested. So if you ask your employees for the COVID jab and they don't give it to you, I'm assuming the certificate, do they pay for them? Do you pay for them, or don't they get paid until they've been jabbed? Yeah, well, okay, good question. So ultimately, they're not fulfilling their role within the organisation. So there's a number of ways you can do it. It can be leave without pay, or it can be annual leave. You can get it out of their annual leave. Now, if they don't have annual leave, then it would be leave without pay. And if it became something that they were an anti-vaxxer and just not getting it, again, that is completely their choice. I would probably seek some legal advice before firing them. So speak to a solicitor or someone of that nature and have a chat and see where that lies. This is really new territory. Let's use an example of if someone had let's just say mental health issues, right? So your employee has mental health issues. You can't fire them and they're not at work, they're not coming to work for 6 weeks or whatever it is. You can't fire them because of those mental health issues, right? Because that'll be seen as discrimination. I'd be curious to see, and I might even speak to my solicitor and ask him the question, if someone is an anti-vaxxer within your organisation, by firing them, are you then discriminating against them? Which wouldn't surprise me if the way the law is written and contract and employment law, it wouldn't surprise me if you are doing that. But in the same token, I reckon you'd be okay purely because this has been put onto us. So we're just following the rules set by the government. So I'd be really surprised if that was the case. So the way I would approach it would be leave without pay, or they can use some of their annual leave until that runs out and then get their vaccination, and hopefully they do. Because as I said, it's not just in construction, it's going to be in every industry. Every single industry will need to get vaccinated sooner or later. It's going to be mandatory for all of them to do. So I hope I've answered that question. What happens if your employees don't want the jab? We legally can't dismiss them. So I've pretty much just answered that question now. So I'm pretty sure we don't need to pay annual leave as this is a health order, for example. It can't affect cash flow. Look, at the end of the day, whether you fire them or whether they take annual leave at the end of the year, like eventually you're going to have to pay them that annual leave. So the way I see it is, if you've got a cash flow issue at this particular time and you don't want to pay them annual leave, then maybe you might be right in that regard and you don't pay them. The way I saw it, I gave my employees the option. I go, look, if you guys want to eat into your annual leave over the next few weeks, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, it'll be leave without pay. But then again, keep in mind, come Christmas time, we've got a shutdown period of 3 weeks. It's going to be the same thing. If you've run out of annual leave during that time, well, it'll be leave without pay. Or you can take the hit now or take the hit later. It doesn't make a huge difference to me. They can remain as stood down, inverted commas, and will get disaster payment. So that's true as well. So a lot of my staff and a lot of people I know have just gone and applied for disaster payment because of that 2-week stop down in the industry. You should not fire them. Yes, if you can not fire them, that's great. But again, there is a lot of it's not as simple as that, unfortunately. It's not as simple as just saying I can't get rid of them, or it's your right not to do this. A great example that was given to me a few weeks back was smoking. Right, so it's not against the law to smoke. You can smoke if you want to, but last time I checked, no one sat in a cinema and lit up a cigarette. Now, why? Right, because it's the law. You're not allowed to smoke in an enclosed area, right? And if you did see someone, imagine now you're at the cinema, you're watching a movie, and your kids are next to you, and someone lights a cigarette and is just sitting there puffing away. Like, you would lose your mind. Everyone in the cinema would lose their absolute marbles the fact that someone is smoking in the cinema. All right, and it's the same thing with this now, or the same logic. It really comes down to perspective. Now, the argument would be is if you are unvaccinated and you come to the construction site and spread COVID, well, you're affecting my health and well-being. That's the argument that once someone put that towards me, well, then I kind of felt, well, how do you argue with that? So it helped me sort of get over the fact of I was really shitty at the fact that they were saying we have to get the vaccination, okay, and saying, well, you're discriminating against me because I don't want to get the vax and all this sort of stuff. But when you use that smoking example, it's almost the exact same thing. You can smoke if you want to. You just can't smoke at a cafe or a restaurant or at the cinema, as we said. Keep any further questions, guys. I know today's been a lot about COVID and what we're doing with everything, but if you do have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them as far as getting started back on site and taking it from there. But that's a law. Not too sure what you're referring to there. Oh, with the smoking. Yeah, but still, it's going to be the same thing here. If it's not, I tend to, with COVID, I don't watch the news, okay? I couldn't give a fuck what the cases are every single day. I just don't care. I don't want to fill my mind up with negative shit every single day. So I don't watch the news. But what I do is keep in touch with the things I need to worry about or the things I need to control. Okay, so stuff like all the COVID shit we're going through at the moment as far as, our construction sites. So I'm in the know with all that sort of stuff, but, I'm sure they're going to make it a law sooner rather than later, that you've got to get it done or you've got to do this. But at the end of the day, they're forcing you to do it through other means. Yeah, you don't have to get the jab, but you can't work. What are you going to do? You've got a mortgage, you've got car payments, you've got to put food on the table, you've got rent, whatever it is, you need to go to work. So ultimately, most people are going to be put into a position that they're going to get the jab. And it's so unfortunate that it's come down to that scenario where it's not a choice thing. It's effectively forced onto you. As much as they say it's not forced on and you've got an option, you really don't at the end of the day, if you want to look at it bluntly. Or you remove yourself from, that aspect of society. I don't know. Again, feel free to ask any questions, guys. More than happy to answer them. All right, if there's nothing else. So as I said, guys, if you're interested in purchasing the policy that I've put together for COVID-19, more than happy to send that through. Just shoot me a DM. It is 97 plus GST and you can purchase that through Builder Elite. I can send you the details on how to do that. And then I'll send you everything. So what will be included in that is the policy that you can incorporate in your own business. Now, just keep in mind with that policy is you do need to tailor that to your business. This will be a really generic thing that I'm going to send through to you and that you would need to review it and make sure it's in line with what you want to run at your organization. Well, I've put this in to suit my business and then you need to review and do the same thing as well. It'll also come with a COVID safe plan that I'm currently implementing on most of my sites. I'll give you all the links to all the relevant websites where you can do your training for your COVID marshal. I'll give you all the links as far as any relevant information for COVID, so your posters, your QR code logins. A lot of this stuff you're already going to have, but I guarantee you just the policy alone is well worth the investment in making that through. So, okay, I got another one come through. Question, with the mandate, I've lost 6 out of 10 employees who refuse. You build a business for years and then you have to scramble and start again because they refuse to get it. I know, it's fucking difficult and it's really hard. This lockdown, the last 18 months, and this is something I said the other day, people are thinking that the construction industry is immune to COVID because we've been in operation this whole time. Okay, what a load of shit. It has cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to multiple builders, including myself, that I've spoken to. Pretty much every builder I've spoken to has lost in excess of 6 figures from their business because of COVID-19, and they've been in operation. Okay, and the example I gave someone the other day is, imagine you have a cafe, right? You sell your coffee, you sell coffees, here we go, you sell coffees for $4. Okay, all of a sudden you cannot get coffee beans. There is no coffee beans in Melbourne. Okay, your coffee beans, the coffee beans you can get are now have have gone up 10 times in price. Okay, but you can't increase the price of your coffee. So that coffee that used to cost you 30 cents now costs you $5, but you can only sell it for $4. Welcome to the construction industry. That's exactly the issue that we've got in everything at the moment. Plus we're getting hit up with delays. Plus the jobs, the prelims and the extra costs, we're still paying, the rent per se or your prelims on your job. There's so many construction businesses out there that have lost a ton of money or trading at losses. It's not funny. It's a really huge battle at the moment for a lot of people to keep the doors open. And look, with the 6 out of 10 people, look, this is a huge reset, yeah? Okay, we did the numbers the other day, our high level numbers and project specific numbers on our jobs, because we needed to see where the snapshot of this whole 18 months has put us. And you're right, it really has put a lot of people back to square one. I had multiple things that I wanted to do in this year as far as purchases and major investments and stuff like that, which have been reset. I can no longer do these things today. I will do them, right? The thing with all this is you really need to be positive. You need to have a positive mindset, yeah? And you got to have grit, okay? Because this is a real kick in the guts. Now it's about getting up and collecting yourself and going, right, I'm going to fucking go again. Nothing is going to stop me here to go and achieve what I've set out to do. Not those fucking 6 people that have walked out on you, all right? Because shit will get good again. It will. The business will come back. And when they come knocking on your door saying, oh, g'day mate, can I come have a job? You can tell them to go get fucked. All right? And I mean that seriously, because at the end of the day, they're walking out on you in your time of need. And I'm not fucking pushing for someone to get their own, to get vaccinated or to do what it is. But at the end of the day, they are walking out on you in your time of need. Okay? And things will come good again. You just need to put your head down. There are people out there that are still willing and wanting to work. And you just got to find those people, reset. The other zinger is, and this is something that someone put to me the other day, is like, let's just say you've got a contractor on site as a builder again now. You've got a contractor on site who starts a job but can't finish it because his employees aren't getting vaccinated. So all of a sudden you've got a concreter, for example, that's walked away from a project mid setup or boxing, whatever it is, and now you have to find someone else that's vaccinated to come in and finish his work, or a plumber or an electrician, whatever it might be. Now that's going to be really interesting when that time comes along. And again, I would be of the mindset that if I'm the builder and I haven't paid this person money, I wouldn't pay him for the work on site that he's completed until I've got another contractor involved that's happy to take it over. But then also, if it's going to cost me an extra 10 grand, I would be taking that money off that contractor. Because at the end of the day, you guys as most good builders will have a subcontract agreement that they need to deliver this service between this time, right? And as much as that is difficult for you, that's your obligation to your builder, and you do need to come through. You need to come good on that, vaccination or not. You need to find a means to actually complete that. Now, if a builder has to go out and get someone else to complete that on your behalf, and it costs extra money, then again, that might be a risk that you might have to take. What about videographers, photographers coming on site? Do they need to be vaccinated? Absolutely. Yeah, 100% you do. If you're not, as I said before, what's the definition of a construction worker? I'll go to that section again. This is in our policy that I wrote the other day. And by the way, I didn't make this shit up, this policy. This was from proper research, proper references, and it's in line with all the government stuff too. So I'll go through it again. A construction worker is a person who attends site. Examples include all construction workers, subcontractors, WorkSafe and VBA inspectors, building surveyors, anyone like that, consultants, architects, building owners, so your clients, employees of an organisation, delivery drivers if they leave their vehicle and step on site, and visitors including volunteers. So that would include a videographer or someone of that nature coming on site. They would definitely need to get vaccinated before they could go out there and do what they need to do. So 100%, unfortunately, you would have to get it done. I'm with you, mate. Cheers, guys. Much appreciated. Do subbies need to have a COVID safe plan, for example, roof plumbers, or is it in line with the builders? Great question. Yes, you do. Okay, so you would need to have a COVID safe plan for your organisation, okay? Because think about everything as a risk and exposure to your business, okay? Because you can't come on site and say, oh, I'm working here. What if you catch COVID whilst at your factory? What do you do there? So yes, you would need, as a business owner, I would definitely 100% have a COVID safe plan in circulation within your organisation. Send it to all your employees. Again, this COVID policy, really important to be sending to your employees. You're telling them, guys, this is what we expect from you. And again, if they turn around and say, I don't comply with that, well, now you have grounds to actually get rid of them. Okay, well, this is our policy for the business. If you don't want to be if you don't want to do this, like, again, we're not forcing you to be here. You have every right to leave. But this is what's required when you do come up, when you put on your, your NRG roofing and drainage jumper. That's what you need to do. This is what I need to do. You've got to rule with an iron fist as far as, come and protecting your business and what you want people to comply in. Just a joke. It is. It's very much a pain in the ass. Any kitchen installers out there, we're hiring. Mr. Cabinets, get in touch, guys. There's not many people hiring these days, so if you do want to, if you are a cabinet maker and looking for a job, hit the man up. Make sure you're fucking jabbed though. Fantastic, guys. Again, shoot through the questions. Otherwise, we will wrap it up. Cheers. Thanks, mate. Will DM. Awesome. Looking forward to it. I'll get around to it either tonight or tomorrow, but you'll definitely have it pretty soon. We are hiring also Somerville Plaster. Get on board. Here we go. This has I'll also take a 5% commission for any new recruits that come through this page. So make sure you send the check in the mail. But that's great. It's great to see that people are hiring. We've also put someone on recently. And it was going to go either way for myself at Pascon. It was either going to be to a point where we may have had to put people off, or we were going to hire an abundance of people. But we put in a massive effort. The last 12 months, I haven't sat down just stressing only about what's going on in my jobs. We've put in a huge effort to secure new work. So the 2022 is even bigger than what I anticipated it to be. And that's the way it's heading at the moment. We're really going to have a big year next year, and we haven't even finished the end of the year. I've still got tenders that are going to come in. I've still got other projects that I know are coming in. You've got to keep hustling. You've got to keep chasing that work. You've got to be persistent. Okay, don't give up during times like this. This is the time when you need to 10x your level of commitment to your business. Okay, I talk about prioritizing, what's it called, work-life balance. It is the biggest load of shit ever. There is no such thing as as balance in life. There is prioritizing. Okay, you need to prioritize your business, or you need to prioritize your family, or your friends, or your mental health, or your physical health. There are things that you need to do at certain stages of your life. If you're trying to balance everything, that means everything is getting 10% of you. Nothing ever gets 100%. Okay? Now, last time I checked, when you put 10% effort into one thing, you may as well not do it at all. Okay? So when you're going to do something, commit to it. Okay? Commit to what you're going through. Okay? Commit to the work. Commit to the family, your spouse, your partner, your life, your health, whatever it might be. Okay? So that's my one bit of advice for the day. What's your turnover, PA? It changes every year. But our ultimate goal at the moment is, look, again, I'm not too focused on the turnover. I'd love eventually, so I just mentioned about 10x, right? My 10x mindset would be turning over 100 mil a year. Now, to turn over 100 mil, what do I need to do to get to that sort of a stage? Okay, so I'd need to start thinking about all the things that I need to do to get to that 100 mil. Now, the biggest problem people do with their goals is they set goals that aren't big enough. I want to make $1 million this year. Why make $1 million? Why don't you set your goal at 10 million, right? And then that way, if you set and be like really like a dog with its bone, really hit that target hard. Try and get that 10 mil, right? Now, you might not make 10 mil in the next year. You might make 8 though. Okay. Now, if you had set 1 mil, you probably would have hit 800 or 700. Maybe you would have hit 1 mil. Maybe you would have hit 1.2, right? But the fact that you had set a 10 mil goal and you've hit 8, that's a lot better than the 1, the 7, the 1 or 1.2, isn't it? So set really big goals and make sure you commit to them. Tell people about them. Tell your partner. Surround yourself with people that will keep you accountable on that shit too. Yeah? Because when you put them out in the universe, like I did at the start of the year, I actually put my top 20 goals or whatever it is. Right? And this isn't, New Year's resolution bullshit. It's actual proper goals of what I'm trying to do and achieve for the year. And I put them out there, right? And personal ones too. I put them there to keep myself accountable. And at the end of the year, I'm going to review these goals, and I'm going to do another live or another video and go through them all and say what I've achieved and what I haven't. Okay, and I'm keeping myself accountable to that. It's the same with, say, if you're doing a fitness thing, right? Maybe you do a before and after photo. Might be pretty embarrassing for you, but that'll keep you accountable. If you put a picture of yourself out of shape and going, right, in the next 90 days, I'm going to transform my body. Well, shit, in 90 days, you better go and transform your body. Otherwise, there's just going to be a picture of you out of shape online without any results at the end of it. So accountability is a massive thing. Again, all right, I keep, this is probably the last call, guys. If you've got more questions, shoot them through now. Otherwise, I will wrap it up for the day. But, thanks again for joining me. Really appreciate it. And hopefully today has shed some light on what we need to be doing on our construction sites, and also helped you as well. Cool, I'll wrap it up. So again, if you are interested in purchasing the policy that I've put together, definitely shoot me a DM with your email address and I'll send you all the details. So it's a policy, it'll come with a policy, the COVID safe plan, and all the other details that you really should be doing on your projects as far as your registers and all that sort of jazz. So I'll send you a whole bunch of documents as far as that's all concerned. What's the margin on builds for builders these days? Look, this is probably a topic I could do in a whole hour, but the one thing I'll give you is builders don't charge anywhere near enough. They shouldn't be. They're not charging enough for what they do and for the risk that's involved on their projects. So one thing that we do at Builder Elite is really working with you to get your margins up to where they need to be. And make no mistake, this isn't ripping people off, yeah? And we don't work with those types of builders anyway, the ones that are trying to take advantage of a situation or a scenario. Charging a lot of margin or charging money on a project is all about providing huge and significant value to your client, so much so that the price is never a factor for you winning or losing the project. That's what it's about. I'm interested, George. I'll send you a DM. Fantastic. Thanks, boys. Road and plumbing and excavation. Much appreciated. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. If I've missed anything or you feel you're not quick enough on the messages, just shoot me a DM and I'll get onto it. But appreciate your time for being here today, and we will speak soon. Take care. Have a good week. Hopefully it's chaos free.